gosh, I'm stressed. 2 weeks ago, I launched my collection, 15 pieces, designed and handmade by me. I like built and sewed and designed everything in this room, in this teeny tiny little space. My friend Nava Mau, who you probably know as one of the main characters in Baby Reindeer, just a couple of days ago, her team reached out to me and said, would you be willing to make her Emmy's gown? The dress has to be done tomorrow. This is so stressful. I'm like, it's time to take over the world. I think we've been waiting long enough. Everything that I've already done has been a stepping stone onto the ultimate, which is to become a household name in more than just one category. I want to use all of my abilities and my passions to their fullest extent, and I fully intend to. My name is Gigi Goode, and I am from Woodstock, Illinois, but I currently reside in Los Angeles, California. The first time I was in actual drag and performed on stage in full drag as Gigi Goode was when I was 15. One of my friends in high school was a drag queen named Cindy Vicious. She said that she was organizing a drag show in the next town over and asked if I wanted to be a part of it. And so I created my persona, Gigi Goode. Gigi comes from the spelling of my legal last name, my prior legal last name, which is spelled G-E-G-G-I-E. Goode came from Fiona Good from American Horror Story, Jessica Lange. Yeah, so age 15, that was kind of the beginning of the end. When I started doing drag, I didn't know who I wanted to be. I just knew that it was fun getting on stage and performing as a girl. You know, obviously there's a lot of hidden messages there, which I kind of did not listen to for a very long time, but that was my outlet to feel comfortable in this form and have other people see me while it wasn't like that crazy of a concept for the closed-minded people of Illinois. I started watching Drag Race when it was on TV at season 7, was when I started like actually sitting down and watching it week to week. Of course, after that, I did my homework and I rewatched all of the prior seasons. In college, still was a fan. We had like watch parties and we're doing all of those things and doing drag shows and, you know, copying people's reveals, doing stuff like that. And then me and my boyfriend sat down to watch Call Me By Your Name when it came out, which is just so, this is so tacky, but there's a scene in the movie where the main character's father is having a chat with him and saying, you're young and you're gorgeous, and before you know it, you're gonna be old and no one's gonna wanna look at you or touch you or listen to what you're gonna say, so use this time. And that like really struck me. And as soon as the movie turned off, I turned to my boyfriend and I said, I have to drop out of school, because I just thought that I was wasting time. So I moved to LA with like $4,000 in my bank account, and me and my friend at the time who dropped out of college with me, we drove here. I told my parents and they said, okay, we'll support you in this, but you will never get another dime from us again. And I started kind of making my money primarily doing drag. I was working as a go-go dancer on Santa Monica Boulevard. At Mickey's West Hollywood was where I really got my start. My mom kept her word about not giving me any money, but she helped me in other ways. She would give me one look per week. She would make a look from scratch. I would send her a sketch and she would design and build the look and send it to me like 1 or 2 days after that. And I would wear that look for the entire week of working. Auditions came up for season 12. I kind of just told myself, like, if you submit a tape, you're going to get on. Yeah, 8 months after living in LA, I got on RuPaul's Drag Race and kind of hit the ground running. Ahoy. It's a weird feeling knowing that you are about to like walk into the rest of your life. The anonymity prior to that is kind of all you've ever known. And then just knowing that like millions and millions of people are about to watch you. It was daunting, but you know, my motto, my mantra is, it's not that serious. And so I, throughout the entire process, just kept reminding myself, like, it's not that serious. We're just playing a game. It's not that serious. And I think that kind of allowed me to loosen up and feel more comfortable.
Maria, stop. You trying to control me? How very dare you?
I still like have fever dreams about the Madonna musical, and the experience filming that was so wild. It was a challenge trying to emulate this artist who I knew was an icon, but didn't know enough about. It was crazy. I mean, it's so indescribable. The only thing I wish I could change was the wig. I was born in Woodstock, Illinois, which is where they filmed the movie Groundhog Day. Every day in Woodstock growing up was kind of the same as the last. I'd be lying if I said I didn't endure any bullying, but I kind of quickly learned the system. I realized, you know what? I'm gonna start doing all the cheerleaders' hair for prom, and I'm gonna start doing all the popular girls' nails and their makeup, and then their boyfriends won't be able to say and it worked. I was like a queen for the people. Anything that had to do with working with my hands or art, anything creative, I excelled in. I learned how to do hair because my mother bribed me with an American Girl doll to try out for Woodstock Children's Summer Theater. This was probably age 5 or something. That is kind of when I realized that I wouldn't even call it like a love for hair. I would call it more of like a tactile fixation and obsession, to the point where I would get in trouble in like Sunday school and elementary school, preschool. I was just constantly touching girls' hair and braiding hair, and my mom, that's how I would fall asleep, is by touching her hair. And so I think it's kind of always been with me. My mom used to say that I would do her hair like every Sunday for church from the age of 3, and she was like, you knew how to braid before I did. I've always been someone who realized very quickly if someone was not on my side, and if that was the case, it did not bother me, it didn't get to me, they were just no longer a part of my day-to-day life. I didn't think about them, they did not cross my mind. Unfortunately, one of those people was my dad, and I think he was the only one in my life that felt that way about me. He just had a really hard time dealing with me and kind of who I was, and I think he kind of knew that he had no control over it, and that really bothered him. It didn't bother me that much. It was not really a part of my life. Cut to now, after my transition, and I think after realizing that everyone else is on my side and seeing how happy and successful I am being 100% myself, my dad has made a full 180, and I mean, like a couple Thanksgivings ago was the first time he recognized me as a woman and called me by my name. He looked at me and he said, "You're my daughter and you're the most beautiful girl I've ever seen." And it was a really emotional moment for me and my whole family. Okay, so this is my fortress. This is my safe space in my house. I come here to get glam. This is where I perform my ritual when I'm getting ready. Ever since I was a little girl, I have wanted to have a room dedicated in my home to purely glam. I want to have an archive of everything that's ever been custom made for me, everything my mom has ever made, everything I've ever made. I think that all of these objects are just kind of a love letter to my childhood self, who I'm not gonna say would never believe that I got here, because I think she knew a little bit. She knew a little bit, but she'd be gagged if she was looking me in the face right now. Okay, so this is my bedroom. And of course I have my orange button accessories from the Buttons and Bows runway. That's really the only look on Drag Race that like I care to display in my home. That was like an art project to me, more so than like a sewing project. I can't, look at me.
Wait, girl, did you make that?
I did, yeah.
Oh my God.
How long did it take to put all those damn buttons on?
Well, I had a team of a few friends.
Twinks?
And a few little twinks. It took like 30 hours. It's like 24,000 buttons.
Oh my God, it looks so good. You're not even cinched, are you?
I mean, I'm cinched by E6000 and
Right?
Okay, so this is the living room. It hasn't always been a living room, at least formally. I would say probably a year or so ago is when I decided to get a couch and a chair and a rug, and now it is a bit more relaxing and enjoyable for others, even though I don't let other people in my home. I love it. I mean, this diva with her leg just sticking straight up in the air, like I don't know what exactly she was displaying, but she has a lot of willpower to just stand like this all day, every day. Obviously, she was like an ugly white color, so I decided to spray paint her orange. I'm not a patient person, nor do I like to spend a lot of money on things. I'm very frugal, so like I have that gay sickness where you DIY everything. But this is one of those things. So first I gay DIY'd the dress, and then I gay DIY'd the frame. So it's really, like the dress is not even like secured in there. It's just sandwiched between glass and the back wall. But I don't know, it's nice. It's a nice little homage, and I think it's fine. It'll do. No one said anything, so I feel like we're okay. In here is like my sewing corner. This is where everything takes place. My children, my child, my body here. I mean, you can see like the space is tight. We make do with what we have. And my other body here, which actually is currently not my body because I have padded her out to fit my client for the Emmys, because I was commissioned to do an Emmys gown for a very important nominee. Nava and I have worked on Generation together, which was a show that kind of came out during the pandemic, and 5 days before the Emmys, her team texted me and said, is there any chance that you could make something custom for Nava to wear on the Emmys carpet and on the Emmys stage? You know, the ironing and the steaming and the this and the that. I'm like, I want this corset done. It's amazing to create a gown for my sister, but this is so much bigger than that, and so much bigger than us, in the sense that Nava's nomination was so huge, and it's the first time that a trans person has been nominated in that category. This gown kind of became such a symbol of the world that we're trying to create right now. Usually with this time constraint, I would be like, you are absolutely out of your mind, I cannot do this, but there's no way that I could say no. Oh, I'm a little nervous. That is not bad. Kind of fits like a glove. I think I'm gonna call my mom, because I want to know what she thinks, and I have some questions for her about like technical things that I can't be bothered to YouTube. Hey sister, oh you look pretty.
Thank you.
You got your lipstick on.
I got lipstick on, that's new for me.
You look cute. So listen, I just made the mock-up for Nava's gown, and I wanted to show you.
Okay, cool.
And like get your opinion.
I think it's good.
Isn't the body? I padded out the form, so this is her measurements.
Great.
This is gonna have an internal structure.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, do I sandwich the corset in between the lining and the outside fabric? Or do I keep the internal corset, the thing that's closest to her body, and then put the lining in between that and the outside fabric? Does that make sense?
You don't want the boning to show on the outside of the dress?
No,
Okay,
I don't.
then I would just do the corset on the inside of the dress and...
Just make sure it's comfortable. I don't even know how to begin describing my mom. She was and is the most incredible woman on the face of the planet. In my opinion, she's the blueprint for how parents should raise their children without judgment, without boundaries, without any sort of limit to what I could do and express myself. And I knew that growing up. I knew that I could be comfortable around her in any state that I was in. She placed no judgment, and I think ultimately that's how she was raised. She's taught me how to sew, and I think that really harvested and nourished my passion for art and creating and building. I owe my entire life to my mom. I have to make the actual dress by tomorrow and the corset.
Oh my gosh. I wish I was better equipped to help you. But I mean, the stakes are a lot higher for this than they have been for anything else. So,
yeah. But it's gonna be so worth it. It is. And I know it's gonna turn out.
You have figured out so many things. You'll get it too.
Thank you, Mom. Love you.
I love you too.
And now we're straight ahead, right here. One more time.
Top left, please.
It's a couple days after the Emmys, and I'm still kind of riding the high of it all, and I'm like, I mean, it was magic. Her nomination in conjunction with this dress, in conjunction with her conversation with Laverne Cox, kind of started to level the playing field, and people started to realize that like trans and queer actors and artists and musicians and everything that's going on in the zeitgeist of right now, things are starting to level out and we're all on the same page. And I think we are all realizing that we need each other, and it's entirely possible that someone in the queer world can be just as good, if not better, than all of the people who have been doing it for centuries. I think about this a lot, actually, because like I never had a word for it when I was a kid. There was never language for it when I was a kid. But when I would close my eyes and picture myself as an older person, I just couldn't help but picture a woman. And I never felt any type of way about that. I never felt that that was wrong. I'd never even shared that with anybody. But, you know, the only insight I have into how my brain worked as a 3-year-old kid is my mom and my aunt telling me that when they were babysitting me one time, I was playing with my dolls and they were getting some work done, and I put my dolls down and just randomly out of the blue said, why did God make me a boy? I'm supposed to be a girl. And that was like, I think my mom's first realization that something was up. And probably her first inclination to just let me be and let me live. But if my younger self could see me, I mean, like, I'm like, I don't know, I'm like my dream girl. I have this like long blonde hair and I have like perky tits and like I'm bodied to hell. Like, what more could my younger self ask? And it's not for nothing. I've put in a lot of work and healing time and effort, and every time I go through any sort of a procedure or anytime I inject my hormones, like the first thing I think about is younger me. It just makes me want to cry a little because it's just so, I don't know, it's so special to think about. Like, I can picture myself just like holding hands with my younger self and skipping down the street, and I don't know, it's just amazing. So we are on our way to the studio, and I'm just gonna talk through my debut collection. Something magical about this collection is that so much of it has been such a part of my gender euphoria. I could manipulate the shape of my body using fabrics and still be able to see my body through those fabrics. To have a waistline and hips and still be able to see my belly button was like so affirming to me. Prior to doing this collection, almost everything that I've ever worn, I designed and my mom made. This one I call the boyfriend. The thing about these pants that are so fun is that, you know, when it's off the hanger, they can stand up on their own. Something that I kept thinking about was a woman's walk of shame. It's just at the break of dawn when everything in the world is covered in dew. This look I made out of a dress from Target. This one got pretty popular on TikTok. There is nothing left to the imagination when you're wearing this dress, but I made it with the sole purpose of looking like a woman who's just stepped out of water. This one I titled Blade. She's called the Ducati. The reason I call it the Ducati is because it has this cutout at the hip and it allows whoever's wearing it to mount her motorcycle without wrinkling the dress. I would never get on a motorcycle, are you kidding me? When I got my breasts done, prior to the surgery, I got marked up, and this is the look that I wore for that. So, this is the look that inspired Nava's Emmy gown. This is the first look that I was able to wear after I got my breasts done. My breasts could not have an ounce of pressure on them, so the entire dress sits under the bust. I have not been banned on TikTok from this one. Other looks, yes. The bride. She makes me want to get married. I'm really proud of this collection, and hearing my mom tell me how proud she is of me with this collection is such a cathartic feeling, because it just, again, it brings me right back to sewing our Halloween costumes when we were little kids and learning how to thread a needle. I'm here to tell my experience. Listening to your heart and your body and your mind is suicide prevention. And thank God I was able to listen to my heart and do what I wanted without boundaries, because it led to where I am today. And unfortunately, so many people have those boundaries. And if you are not a part of that community and you consider yourself an ally, then you have to do your part and vote. And you have to do your part and speak to the people in your life that you know are not allies, and make them understand that everyone on this earth, regardless of age, race, gender, identity, what have you, we're all just human beings, and we have our struggles, and we're just trying to get through life. And it's so much easier if we can do it together. I've never been happier. I'm creatively fulfilled. I am successful in any way that I can imagine the word. I have amazing friends. I have the most amazing family. I have the most amazing boyfriend. It all led up to this moment.
You know where to go for the mecca of gay. It's right here, and you know that's right. So make sure you click to subscribe so you never miss a thing.